Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter for boxing-related tweets, or you can subscribe to the channel and click that notifications button and get a notification whenever a new video is uploaded. If you did not receive a notification, because a few of you have told me this, 5 of you now have told me you didn't get a notification for the first video earlier today, the Josh Kelly, David Avanesyan detailed technical breakdown and prediction video, please go and check that video out if you're interested, of course. If you've got a notification for this video, check that out so that this video makes more sense. So check that video out first. Maybe if you ever rewatch the fight or just look at it in retrospect, you can see some of the stuff we pointed out, see where we were accurate, where, you know, we learned new things as well. I'm also going to talk about Marku against Charlton and the technical details of what went on there. I didn't bring a preview video for that fight. I'd planned to, but something came up with me at work today and I wasn't able to. But I did comment on that video. Ross Hartley asked how I thought the fight would go, and I gave a bit of a detailed explanation of how I thought that fight would go. So we'll go over what I wrote, and again, what we were right about and what we learned as well. Starting off with Kelly Avanesyan, I expected, like I said, if I was pushed, I said, I would expect Josh Kelly probably to win the fight on points, but I could envisage a way in which he gets worn down late, and we spoke about the various technical reasons for this. Well, although we didn't get the timing right, so to speak. It wasn't at the end of the fight. The pattern, it was more compacted. The pattern of the fight was as we expected. Josh Kelly looked very good, very sharp early on. Then he started to get broken down. The method in which all this happened, we did get right. So let's talk about what we saw and what the narrative seems to be now on Sky Sports and why I disagree with the narrative of someone like Johnny Nelson. So first and foremost, one of the things that surprised me, a nice surprise in a way, was that Josh Kelly came out in a Philly shell. So he came out behind that shoulder. So I was speaking about taking that half step back, when Avanesyan jumps in, looking to counter him with a straight right hand down the pipe, whether that's to the head or to the body. Instead, and we did see Avanesyan with that leaping hook, right? We saw it a few times in the first round, 3 times, I believe. And he got caught a number of times with that check left hook. It almost looked like Ryan Garcia type left hook. Lovely stuff. So he did it differently to how I expected him to do it, but he looked effective early on. Avanesyan was struggling to find that range. You could hear Adam Booth in the corner saying, let him come to you, he'll get frustrated, he'll leap in. He was using the jab a lot more. Okay, I was very critical about that underdeveloped jab in the preview video. However, it was still a sort of thudding jab. It wasn't a jab that was used to control the tempo. He didn't vary it. He didn't mix it. He also didn't rotate around the ring. When things got tough after those first 3 rounds, where he looked good, in the first couple of rounds he looked good. After that, in the 3rd round, things started getting a bit harder. After the 3rd, he reverted to type. He did the things that I spoke about could cause him a problem. He turned more square on for a start. Now, when he was at an Philly shell, the reason I thought this was interesting is because apart from coming off the shoulder, making himself a smaller target and using the check left hook when he's jumping in, by having that right hand low, he's protecting from that shovel hook to the body that is Avanesyan's best shot. So I thought, okay, that's why it's interesting. He started to get a little bit more square on. And what did he do? What did we speak about in the preview video? How Josh Kelly will move away quickly when he's retreating. Move away quickly, retreats, then slows down as he gets to the ropes and stands still. And he's not popping a consistent jab. So his opponent is able to walk directly to him. And what Josh Kelly's looking to do is lure him into one pot shot, powerful shot, and then he stays in that pocket. This is a guy who's got all the movement, the ability to move around the ring in the world. But he's just not doing it correctly. So when Johnny Nelson's coming out and he's saying, listen, he's got all the skills and, you know, we can't jump down his throat. He took a step up. This was about a gut check. It wasn't a gut check. Josh Kelly was very tough today. He didn't quit. He started to eat some big shots. He went down. He got up. He got dropped. He got up. But the towel went in. It wasn't him that quit. The problem was indeed the skill set. It was that lack of knowledge that we spoke about. He made the errors we spoke about in the preview. Moving back without giving Avanesyan a barrier to have to bypass. Instead of him jabbing, getting on that back foot and jabbing and moving around the ring, constantly circling, changing the direction of where you're circling, getting Avanesyan to reset, he was moving in straight lines, albeit quickly. Then he'd come to that end of the barrier and he'd stop. He'd stay there. He becomes a sitting target. Why? Well, even if you ignore that, the fact that there's no barrier, Avanesyan was going to be able to keep walking up to him and throwing shots. it could have ended up looking a bit more like Zelfa Barrett and Kiko Martinez if he had been rotating, because Zelfa Barrett was rotating around the ring. Now, that was a close fight. This might have been a closer fight if he was moving correctly around the ring. But even then, there needed to be something. Points where you hold your feet, other points where you don't and you're flicking a jab. Offset the guy's balance. Stop him from being able to just pour in. And then when he did turn more square on, he offered the body up more too. So Josh Kelly made a series of mistakes. And listen, Adam Booth is a top quality fighter. There's no doubt, top quality trainer. There's no doubt about that. But like I've said in the preview, it's horses for courses. He needs, in my opinion, to be with a trainer who fits his skill set. He is not a power punch and ambush fighter who's going to sit there and be all cute and clever and set up an opponent for 1 or 2 big shots to take him out. That's not who he is. He needs to develop this jab. The other thing we spoke about in the preview, when he gets on the inside, which is where all of the damage happened, I spoke about how he needed to learn to develop a stiff arm jab. A stiff arm after working, hold that. Be able to, control the guy with your lead arm to step outside, control his head, use your forearm across the side of the jawbone, just to be able to push his head back, break his balance, turn out, spin out, move out in diagonal lines after doing that. I did speak about how I'm going to do slides to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about when we watch Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence Okolie is brilliant on the inside. So if he's not going to move to a trainer who's going to help him develop the jab, because it's very possible that he just doesn't have, for whatever reason, the skill set. I mean, I find it hard to believe he doesn't have the coordination, because he's got brilliant balance and brilliant movement. But he has been exposed to some elite level pedigree in Team GB. So if he still hasn't developed a top level jab, when at Team GB they're all about developing the jab, maybe there's some sort of issue there for him. If that's the case and you just cannot develop a top level jab for whatever reason, then maybe a trainer like Barry Robinson's the right guy. Lawrence Okolie's trainer. Go and work with someone who's going to help you develop on the inside, right? Alternatively, like I said, you look at someone like Peter Fury, who's going to teach you how to move around a ring, pop that jab, maintain range, but also, know how to plant your feet. He'll never be a big puncher. It's just not in his game. But that ability to get on these toes and move around the ring, Billy Joe Saunders style, Willie Monroe, like I said when I was talking about Kiko Martinez and Anthony Yard, you don't have to necessarily follow the elite level fighters to pick up on certain things. Look at the specialists. He's got the skill set. But for me, the fit with Adam Booth, he's been with him for a long time now. This fight should have happened almost 2.5 years ago, towards the back end of 2018. Has he really developed Josh Kelly? And I'm not one, like I said, to have a go at trainers. One of the reasons Hatman called out this channel was because of my defense of Tunde Ajayi. I'm not one of these guys, long-time subscribers will know, I don't sit there and have affiliations with trainers and promoters and stuff like that. They're all quality trainers. For them to be professional trainers and to work with guys at this level, they're all quality trainers. But every individual trainer has a certain skill set, a certain method of teaching, and every individual fighter has certain attributes, and they don't always gel. So in my opinion, he needs to look at how to develop more of a skill set. It's not what Johnny Nelson said. This wasn't him quitting. This is an issue with knowledge and skill set, in my opinion. Let me know what you think, guys. In terms of Avanesyan, he showed a lot of grit, a lot of heart. He wasn't able to do some of the subtle things that we spoke about in the preview video, but he didn't need to in the end. He really put his foot on the gas. A few of you asked me about what I meant about his lateral side steps. So what I did is I was replying to Chris Ackers on Twitter, and I gave 4 sort of photos, 4 still shots from the same sequence to show you what I was talking about what I mean about how he lines up the shoulder with the head. This was from the Mean Machine fight. I'm going to put that Twitter link into the description box so you guys can see those 4 photographs. If I didn't make myself clear, you can see what I'm talking about, almost like slides. In terms of Avanesyan, where do you think he can go from here? Where should Josh Kelly go from here? Avanesyan, for me, is always, for me, he's a gatekeeper. He's very good at what he does, but this is a stacked division, and I can't, Conor Ben was talking about him fancying Avanesyan against the likes of Sean Porter, against the likes of Errol Spence. I can't really see him getting the better of those guys. But listen, he's a handful, and he deserves a higher step up. I'm just not sure that, I think he'll probably hit his ceiling. In regards to Josh Kelly, I definitely don't think he's done. Like Adam Abramovich has suggested, this wasn't a make or break fight, but what it is a crossroads period in his life. He needs now to look at, in my opinion, new training methods, and seeking new knowledge. Let me know what you think, guys. Let's talk about Florian Marku and Ryland Charlton. Ross Hartley asked me pre-fight how I thought the fight would go. And what I said is I won't have time to make a video pre-fight. I'll post a post-fight video. But I'll tell you my pre-fight thoughts here. Firstly, it's important to know I've only ever seen Charlton fight once against Laws. So there's still a lot I've not seen, and so my analysis is partially blind, so to speak, because I've not done a detailed breakdown of the strengths. I have done a detailed breakdown of the strengths and weaknesses of Marku, and I posted the video to the preview video of, it was a prospect watch video actually for Florian Marku. Check that out if you've not seen it. But not for Charlton. From what I've seen though, Charlton impressed me. Marku is the bigger man and I believe the stronger man. Charlton is very good at cutting off the ring and making an opponent work, even when he wants a breather. And he works the body well too. He seems solid, but his defense consists of curling up and absorbing shots. He counters from there and seems heavy-handed. However, because of this method of defense, I expect a war early on. But with Marku starting more quickly, he'll be getting the better of it early on, I believe. And much of it will depend on how much damage he dishes out. As I explained in the video of Marku, he has some pacing and stamina issues. So if Charlton remains strong through the first 6 rounds, I expect Marku to slow. It's only a 10-round fight though. But if he's dead on his feet through the midway point, Charlton has the style to inflict some damage late on. I'm leaning towards Marku, but I can definitely see how Charlton comes on strong and wins this late on. Like I said though, I can only base my prediction on the one fight I've seen of Charlton, so I wouldn't be betting on this, for instance. Well, Marku did indeed start very quickly. He looked really good. The first round, he might have actually lost. I believe, in fact, he did lose it. He got outworked. But then you could start to see a nice crisp jab. This was the best I've seen Florian Marku in those first 5 rounds. Crisp jab, a lot of upper body movement, picked his shots very well. The uppercut was the key shot. Spotted that really early in the fight and mentioned it on Twitter. And he continued to cause a whole host of damage to Charlton with that. Charlton was, cutting off the ring really well, again, like we expected. Putting Marku under a lot of pressure with his feet. When he was getting Marku up against the ropes, he was landing a lot of body shots. There were still some things I'm critical of with Marku because, when you're up against the ropes and you're covering up and you're eating body shots, there's no point in you sitting there and saying to the guy, that's nothing, if you're eating the body shots. If he's drilling your ribs and you're talking trash, he's winning those exchanges. So there were moments where he was almost trying to, put out a message like, you can't handle me, when in reality there were pockets of a period where Charlton was getting the better of it. But it was Marku that I felt was, I had him 4-1 up after the 5 rounds. So from the 2nd to the 5th, I had him sweeping him. Really nice crisp jab. Really good heavy-handed shot selection. His movement was very good. I've spoken in the past about how kickboxers have a really good understanding of distance control, really good feet, MMA fighters in general, because they can't afford to be in a pocket too long because they'll get their legs kicked out or they'll get taken down. So they have to develop that movement. Where they struggle a little bit is with that lateral movement. With Marku, we saw some really nice footwork. We saw that kickboxing background, therefore, and he was able to maintain range and pick his shots whenever he needed to pick them. Like I said, through the first 6 rounds, it depends how much damage he inflicts on Charlton. And it was in the 6th round that Marku got dropped. Now, he did trip over a little bit on Charlton's foot. Look out for that. But the shot was heavy, it landed, and it affected him. And it took him, a good round and a half, I'd say, to recover. A good round, rather, to recover. Okay. What I'll say is this. The damage he did inflict early on helped carry him through. Just like I felt on that comment. Because by the time he got the second wind, it was able to carry him through because Charlton had absorbed an awful lot of punishment. And Charlton's a tough cookie. But those stamina issues still remain. Go and check out, again, I'll put the video in the description box of the Prospect Watch video of Marku for those that haven't seen it or those that want to refresh their memories, check it out. A lot of those criticisms still stand. What we also saw, though, was a better pacing, but there's still an issue there. If this was a 12-round fight and he hadn't been able to inflict the level of damage he inflicted and he got dropped like that, he got a second win, but we've seen that he did slow down. So what would happen over a 12-round fight? This is an area they're going to have to look at. They're going to have to work even harder at pacing themselves. Clifton Mitchell's come onto the team and, maybe he's helped a lot with that movement and jab because it's the best I've seen Marku look in that early half of the fight. But yeah, he's really exciting. Great addition to the domestic scene. They both are, to be honest with you. It was a really fun fight. I can't wait to see them both again in action, to be honest. Where do you think they both go from here? Were you impressed? Was there anything that you felt needs improvement from both guys? There's talk now about Marku. There was, he called out Conor Benn. Conor Benn saying he's looking at bigger and better things after Vargas, which he believes he'll win. He'll look to step up. Conor Benn against Marku would be a terrific fight, let's be honest. Who would you have in that fight? Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks for watching. Chat to you soon. Take care and God bless.